Hey, welcome back to another day, another vlog. Monday back, weekend's done and dusted. Like to say got a bit of rest, but no, definitely no rest. Well into editing for the last video of the South Coast trip. It's been a week and I think I've got about 60 photos fully done and dusted. I have literally 550 or something to get through. I'm getting about 10 to 20, about on average about 10 a day. I think I've been going for about 5-6 days. I did have a Saturday off just to switch off because I just couldn't stare at the screen anymore. Please forgive me. 12 hours a day staring at 6 epoxy 30-inch screens drives my brain enough, and then coming home to sit and stare at my poor old Mac for another 4 hours before I try and get some sleep. You tend to need to have a little bit of a switch off time. So yeah, we're getting there. Look, some fantastic photos out of it. That's the best thing about it, and that's why it's taking so long. I think every one of the videos, I think this is going to be like 2 or 3 videos in one. So I think it's a total of, it was about 16 days, the trip, but this would be about 14 videos, and some of the best photos I've ever taken, or without a doubt, the best photos I've ever taken. I'm very, very lucky. I think I said on one of I think it was Twitter or Instagram, one of the people I follow, they asked, Michael Shainbloom, really good photographer out of San Francisco. If you get a chance, go check him out on YouTube. Does some amazing time lapse. Very switched on young fellow on time lapse, and a really nice photographer. He asked to put down like your favourite moment you've shot, and your favourite trip out. And I'm still go back to that Elephant Rocks morning where I had the whole of Elephant Rocks to myself, with not a person anywhere near me for like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So I still think out of every shoot I've ever had lifetime, that was like my most favourite shoot, and I got so much out of it and I was stoked. So yeah, there's been a lot in it. Bluff Knolls, there's just so much that happened. It was just a really bucket list trip for me. I was very lucky. I know a lot of people at that stage in January, COVID was still a big thing everywhere. It's starting to everywhere else in the world is now pretty much opening up, except Australia. We're still in prison, thanks to our lovely politicians going a little bit over top. But there's nothing you can do about that. You got to, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Yeah. I was lucky. I got out and we did have a holiday in the last 2 years. So most people haven't had that chance. So I consider myself very lucky to have at least got on a trip down to that beautiful South Coast before we left WA. So look, it's going pretty well. Again, I've got like another 450 to edit. I'm trying to get through them. I'm trying to be, if you've done photography and editing, I'm assuming you probably have, you understand it's very hard to like push that to the side and go, oh no, it's not a good one. It's not good enough. It's not good enough it's very hard to cull photos. I started, I think like 1200, I think, and I've culled it to 600 on the first run through. And now I'm trying to do that as well to try and get through them, but I don't want to miss anything. And sometimes you only need, something just needs a bit of an edit and a clean up and a bit of color and the right shadows, or changed over to black and white, and it can actually make something just pop. So you don't want to miss something too, and it's very hard. So I'm getting there. I'd say it's going to be definitely, if I can get it done by this weekend, that'll be good, because what we're going to do is when I fly out, if I can get home, fingers crossed, I'm going to have a week off because I've got my niece's wedding, little buddy Dana, and I'm going to just take the whole week off. We've got a camper van for that week for the wedding, and it's just going to be time just to switch off and have a little bit of a week break. No photos, no editing, nothing, just no computer. That's my plan. I made my mind up yesterday on that, and I think that's a good plan. I basically literally haven't stopped for 6 months straight, every day working, and even through except for probably Dad's passing. So I really want to. I think that'll be pretty cool if I can do that. So we're getting there, but some sweet photos. Even I did a couple today of young Jack, and they come up really good. And I'm putting them to the side. I'm sort of their family ones, and yeah, I've Some I'm putting in, some I'm like keeping. Heaps I've got there of him. I'm just not really editing. I'm just keeping there for us, for me and my wife. And but some there, he's like, yeah, he's just a character, and it's so much fun. He's good fun. So going pretty well though, all happening well. Now, tech, there's been actually a bit of news over the weekend. We've got some excitement coming back into it. It's been a struggle, so you've got to take it while we can get it. Yongnuo, I think that's, I hope that's right. It's probably wrong. Yongnuo have a new YN455 micro four thirds camera. A little bit different. You've seen the thumbnail on the front already, so you're probably going, oh yeah, if you're listening on the podcast, well, I can tell you a bit more about it. A few years ago, Samsung, I think it was about 8 years ago, Samsung made a interchangeable lens camera with basically a smartphone running the whole thing. Now, I think in this day and age, with what we're at, with how powerful our smartphones are, with the processors and 12 gigs of RAM and all the stuff, which we'll talk a bit about another phone released today or over the weekend. The operating systems that I use on my Canon on the RP are pretty okay compared to, say, like an Apple, Microsoft, or a Mac OS system or an Android top-of-the-range system. Yeah, they're very... Look, it's a camera and there's different stuff in there, but the operating systems, the way it works, the touch screens and all that are very, very much behind the smartphone industry. Now, I've said for a few times, and long-time listeners would understand or would remember, probably a few times I mentioned, wouldn't it be amazing if you could actually, say, put like an iPhone 12 and put interchangeable mounts with a proper sensor on the back of that phone, and that would be amazing. You get that, all that usability, storage, all that, it's all built in the system, and then you can just airdrop your photos straight to your laptop, put them straight on Instagram, but you still get a proper quality photo, not with the tiny little lenses. There's only so many limits, so much they can get out of those lenses. It's going to have to get to a point where they need to find something new. The back of your phones you don't really use. Look, it's going to be bigger, but it's going to be an amount that's increased. We've already got massive lenses. The new iPhone that comes out this year has got another increase in lens size, so there's a massive camera bump on the back. You can't tell me that amount. Look, it's going to have to be a different sort of amount. I understand that, but you can't tell me there's an amount that can't go on there. Yeah, the phone's going to be a little bit thicker, but you're already carrying, if you're a Max user, like an iPhone Max or one of these new big phones, they're massive. So, like, size, obviously, you can't whinge about size when you're carrying around a friggin' tablet in your pocket for a phone. So, I think it has its benefits, and Yongnuo's come out with one, and it's very, very similar to the one Samsung brought out a good 8 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, I think. Now, the Samsung one sort of just, you can actually still get them on eBay. If you want to do the research and go check them out, you can still buy them, still use them. Obviously, it's got old Android software on there, but it still works, still fine. Change lenses, basically micro four thirds lenses, so you can get, there's lots of lenses you can screw on there. Well, Yongnuo's done the same. It's obviously a bit of a freshen up. It's got some new tech in there, so pretty cool. Micro four thirds, the mount, so there's heaps there. You've got all your Lumix lenses, your Olympuses, all that. So there's plenty of good quality glass you can use. So that's probably a good choice by them, I think. It's got a let me run it through. It'll be easier if I talk here. CPUs, it's got a Snapdragon SoC in it. CPU, 8 cores, 2.2 gigahertz, 6 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of storage, 256 gig memory card compatible micro SD. Magic. Can't beat that. 4G network compatible. If magic. Straight away share them. Put them straight on Instagram. As I said, this is the benefits. Now the internet's better. The mobile network's better. You got 5G and all that. That is why now becomes something that can be actually used. When, unfortunately, Samsung brought it out, the internet was crap. 4G was barely in, maybe, or it not even is, probably 3G, so it would have been just terrible trying to upload any sort of decent photo. Now you've got 5G coming through. The 5G, big files, fast, that's what you need to get rid of those big files. So that's really cool. I think that's why it will work. 5-inch tilt touch monitor, the whole back screen, so where your normal phone is, that all tilts. So like, hello, magic, 4K, 30 frames a second. So you can do video on it as well. That's good. It's got the headphone jack, microphone jack in the phone. So now you've got a microphone in your phone. So you could literally do a podcast as well on your phone, direct live on air. Even better. That's not too bad at all. Dual USB-C ports. Maximum 1080 output on the side. OTG compatible on the bottom. 5 gigahertz, 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi compatible. Bluetooth 5.0. GPS installed. Equipped with an LED light. Weight 670 grams, so that's not too bad. Like, it's got a bit of weight. Chuck your lenses on. Going to come around the kilo mark, I'd say, fully kitted up. But that's still light to put in. You're thinking a phone size with a lens, you can easily dump that in a camera bag, and all you got to carry is some lenses now. That's pretty cool if you think about it. 4400 milliamp battery, 18 watts, fast charging compatible, and it's a removable battery. Can't do that with a phone. Oh no. Now, body, roughly about $800 Australian. They've got their specialist lenses for it, a 25mm 1.7 and a 42.5mm 1.7. They're both around the 4,500 yen, so it'd be just under $1,000 Australian, I guess, for the lenses. So that's not too bad. That's pretty cool. Just chuck that back down. And I think it's, as I said, I think the biggest thing now is the fact that when the Samsung version come out, and I actually think that's a viable option nowadays. The internet wasn't there. Again, no 5G. We've now got 5G, got Starlink rolling out across the planet. The Amazon one will be starting to roll out soon. We have the connectivity to make that useful. When it come out before, you still would have had to go on and load it onto something. You would have had to load it through a USB or something, then to go take it to the computer. So that wasn't it, and I'm pretty sure that's probably why it died. It was just too early, the right tech, but too early. So, Yongnuo's coming out. I've said Apple would make this work, and I think their operating system would be pretty darn cool. And they've got all their sort of tech inside for their cameras. You take that and put that on with a proper lens and a proper sensor. Ooh, oh boy, you could do really, really well. They already buy all their camera sensors from generally Sony. So Sony could easily put on maybe their vlogging sensor, so that 1-inch sensor off the old ZV-1 or wherever it was, that 1-inch sensor, you put that on the back of a phone. Nice little mount, pow. Very, very nice. Canon could team up. Canon or a Sony could team up with an Apple. They could team up with a Samsung and combine and do a combined project. A different company where they own half the shares and they put the tech input. They don't have to give them everything they own, but they can share it and make a big profit on the side. I think it does. I think it's definitely, look, phones are running out. I've said it many times, phones are running out of things to do to sell them. They've all got exactly the same thing. They've all got ridiculously fast computer processors and batteries and fast charging. Fast charging is now the in thing. 120 hertz screens, they'll be 240 hertz shortly. There's so much competition, they've had to move fast, and now they're running out of things. This is another thing that could potentially give them the selling edge. And then if that becomes a thing, then that becomes better. Then everyone's got it. Next minute, we've got cameras with running Mac OS software, running Android software, where you can just do everything, and you don't need memory cards anymore because you can just basically airdrop it straight to your laptop that's sitting next to you. Power, you don't even need a SSD drive when you go out. You can put it straight on your computer and back that up when you get home. Or your iPad. Magic, how good is that? So look, I think the options are there, and I think actually they will do pretty well out of this. It'd be very interesting once we see the first couple of reviews on this and how they put that up against, say, a Samsung. Hopefully one of the big boys will get one of these, and they'll be smart enough to go and get that old Samsung, compare it, and just see where it's at and see if there is a future in this. What is the downsides of it? How is it not going to be better than a camera that we're using now? So that's pretty interesting. I think something to definitely think about. Rightio, Dodge Dodge electric cars. Well, they had a big event over the weekend, announcing that they're moving into not electric, they're moving into e-powered muscle cars, and they were very, very forthcoming in the fact that they're not making electric cars; they're making e-muscle cars. They're not going to electric because they have to. They're going there because electric's going to give them to make them faster, bigger burnouts, and all that. That's their president or whoever it was quite adamant that to put across that it wasn't about going green or looking after the planet. That the only reason they were going electric because they were going to be faster, more powerful, and do more crazier crap. So that's all good. I'm all for that. We all know how ridiculously fast electric cars are. The Teslas used it to sell their cars every year, and it's done them well. Even the new F-150, Joe Biden said it was 4 seconds and took off and did a high-speed run in the middle of a press conference to prove that it was super fast. So fast sells. Like in everything else in life, sex sells. Well, in cars, speed sells. And electric cars have speed. Can they handle around the corners? I think we've learned a little bit about that, and they're probably not the best. Teslas in the corners and the racing stuff. And I think once they become full-time racing cars, which I'm sure will happen pretty soon, we'll see exactly how good these electric cars are at handling, which is actually where real racing is done, is all in the handling. You can have a world's fastest engine and be a crap driver and lose every race. So that will make a difference in racing. But look, I think this is pretty cool. Dodge, we're going to get a Dodge electric Ram. F-150 is well on the way. That's doing really well, and it's had a hugely successful release. The Dodge Ram currently is probably the best quality pickup truck. It's won all the awards in the last couple of years. F-150 probably still selling more than it per month, but I think everyone knows that the quality that's in the Dodge Ram is of super high. It's super good. It's a really nice truck. Getting an electric option in that is a great thing. How they're going to sell it, and I think the biggest thing it is that Hemi engine has a beautiful note to it. So it's going to be tricky to try and sell those faithful Hemi owners on an electric noiseless machine. So yeah, I think that'll be the tricky part. But looks pretty good. They're part of a big company, like all companies are all owned by other companies, and they're part of the Stellantis group, which is Maserati and I think 14 other brands all in one. They're putting 30 billion euros into going over to electric cars and utes and all basically the whole way through the system. So I think they're going to do very, very well. It'll be a four-wheel drive system. They're going to try and use, obviously, one platform across all the different brands, so it sort of minimises costs, which is smart. That's good, and less waste as well, which is good for the planet. So I think that was pretty good, and I think they're going to have that done by 2025. They want to basically go full electric, and we should, I think, 2025. We should have the first ute out, so for sale. So they're probably not far. I think they've been working on it, but this is just sort of the big announcement. So pretty darn interesting. Now, next up is Butterpad Industries. It's a bit of an interesting one. It's a good article I read on one of my emails. If you're into cooking, I do like to cook. Most people like to cook. It's a good stress relief for me, and I do like being able to switch off and just get in the kitchen and do my thing. We all know the quality of a pan is definitely different from cheap. You get a cheap, crappy Kmart pan compared to a beautiful cast iron pan, handmade, is a totally different world. And chefs don't use crappy stuff. They use the best quality, like good mechanics use good tools, vice versa. Now, Butterpad Industries, the gentleman that started this broke his grandma's cast iron pan. He'd had it since he was a kid and got given it. He went out basically to try and get it recast so he could replace this thing, so he could give it to his children to pass on. So, and that's the beauty of good quality cast iron. It does last forever. He ended up spending $100,000 of his money building a company, and now they make handmade cast irons, fry pans, and there's even a pot as well. out of their factory in the States. Beautiful looking bit of kit, and super, super high quality. It's super hard. He had to go and they can't mass produce them because you can't get the right hardness in the steel. Has to be all done by hand. It's pretty darn amazing. And look, they're not cheap, but if you look at those Le Creuset pots and stuff like that, they're $400-500 a pot. Well, you're going to be paying $350 or from 300, I think, to about 450 US bucks for one of these fry pans. But it's got a 100-year warranty. Doesn't say warranty forever like some of those companies, because they know it's cheap enough they can just replace it in 20 years, and it's really not gonna hurt them. This guy's give you a 100-year warranty, so it's gonna last. It is super high polished, silky smooth, beautiful, and it works on everything. It'll work on all your hot plates. You can put it in the oven. It'll even work on induction cooktop. So if you're looking for a birthday present for a budding chef or your loved one that loves to cook, and you want something different that's sort of going to stand out and be a talking point, go check out Butter Pat Industries. You might have to wait because they sell out all the time. There's a bit of a waiting list on all of them. But if you're patient, it's now July, Christmas, 6 months. I think you'd have a fairly decent chance to get one in there by then. So go check that out. Pretty darn cool, I thought. Radio, lucky last. New phone. Now, we talked about phone and their tech. Well, Pixel's Google's company, their Pixel brand of phones. They've got two new ones out. It's the Pixel 6. They got the big one. We'll just talk straight about the big one. Don't have to worry about the little one. Let's go straight to the premium. Now, it's a 6.71-inch POLED. Now, POLED is the new word. We had AMOLED, which was the old ones we've got now. Well, POLED is plastic, so it's got a bit more flexibility in it, a little bit. I think it's a bit more durable, actually. To be honest, it has a rear cam of 50 megapixels, 48 megapixels for the telephoto, and 12 megapixels for the ultra wide. And the front camera facing you, 12 megapixels, 5,000 milliamp battery. Google does their own processor, so they've got that in there. 12 gigabytes of RAM in a phone, which is crazy. 128 all the way up to 512 gigabytes of storage. Wi-Fi 6, 5G, full 5G support, and apparently a first for Google phones, 5 years of guaranteed software updates, which John Prosser is saying, because he's reported this, and the renders on the front were from John Prosser and Ian's by Design. So shout out to John. He does a great job getting all this news out for us. Pretty cool. And it looks actually pretty cool. It looks very Pokemon ball, I reckon, the color scheme and how it looks. Different sort of camera setup on the back end, full of horizontal and cross instead of a square with them in there. So a little different way of looking at it. Pretty funky, pretty cool. And look, if you're in the Android system, it's got Android 12 in it. It's going to be a fantastic phone. And now with that 5 years of software update, at least your phone's going to be good for at least 5 years. You get that value for money. If you're going to spend, well, it's a flagship phone. It's going to be over $1,000 bucks. Probably going to be $1,500 bucks Australian. You want to at least spread that over 5 years and get you $200-300 bucks a year value proposition out for it. So pretty darn cool and good to see them bouncing back. That's about it. I'm going to go and get a feed and then do some more editing. Back in there. And I will see you all again tomorrow for shift change night. Pack a power. The week has gone quick. Radio, whether you're coming this way, that way, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.